Afternoon, folks. Indie truck Davy out the truck and at home at Salisbury in North Lanarkshire, where it's overcast, about 7 degrees. Pretty murky day actually. There you go, that's your weather forecast for Salisbury, North Lanarkshire. So what brings Davy to the airwaves a day, a Saturday? Well, sometimes a day jump on at the weekend when something really phenomenal is happening. Alright, now I've been predicting queues at the ports for years now, and people have just laughed because it hasn't happened. And I've had to explain they kept kicking the can down the road. Alright, no more can kicking, kids. It's here. It's happened. Now we have an existential threat to food supplies, medicine supplies, the works, you name it. Commodity prices are going through the roof. Inflation's going through the roof. All the things that have been predicted since the 2016 vote have now arrived. Brexit's here. It's not finished. There's still increments to come. There's three more dates that are important in the animal products, which means that meat's coming in for Europe will be non-existent shortly. And then of course September, there's a biometric identification system kicks in to get in and out of Europe, which means that every driver's got his fingerprints taken, his picture taken, scanning his eyeballs, all that sort of crap, and then get back in the truck. Well, this is going to be done at customs checkpoints. There's already 20-kilometre tailbacks, as I say, but that's nothing. The checks are still, there's more to come. There's a new rules coming in. Let's put it this way, I'm not going to overcomplicate it, let's just say sector by sector and increments, these tailbacks are going to get worse. European suppliers are just going to look at the UK and say, nah, no thanks. They're just not going to bother. New tax regime, drivers held up for days at ports. Of course it will become the norm. It'll not get any easier, but it'll become the norm. The supply chain will be used to, we'll get used to waiting 4 days to get something in and checked, and then out to what we call the central distribution centres and then the road distribution centres. So there will be delays in anything that you order, even if you're ordering it for UK outlet, and there will be increased costs. There'll be price inflation on it. Anyway, it's here. And there is a silver lining to this, folks. The driver shortage is there. When there's bugger all to haul, you don't need the driver. The madness of Brexit has arrived. So after years of talking about potential medicines shortages, potential food shortages, all the things I spoke about back when I did a food security video a couple of years ago and things like that, all these things that people said hadn't come to pass, well, they're coming to pass now. There's no more can kicking. Enjoy. So don't panic buy and get used to seasonal foods, because well, the fresh foods and vegetables we're getting at the moment, they're about to dry up because they'll come from Spain, Portugal, Italy, places like that. Oh well, we're going to dry up, so you better get used to seasonal foods. You better get used to sky high prices for food. Food prices went up by 9% 2021. That will probably go up by another 9% this year. We've got a 50% hike coming in energy costs. Stagnating wages, rising inflation, rising interest rates. It's going to be a rough ride, kids. Not everybody's going to make it the other side. There'll be those who will go to decide between heating and eating that will die. There'll be the pensioners who won't be able to heat or eat that will die. Families will lose their homes. Homelessness will rocket. The banks will have portfolios full of properties that nobody can afford to buy. We're not just looking at a depression here, we're looking at a recession. Sorry, we're not just looking at a recession here, we're looking at a depression. And they're talking about a 10-year haul just to get back to where we were prior to 2016. You know, this is madness. It's a time that we, the people, started putting pressure on the politicians here to get the job done. Because that's what they're all waiting on, as you know. The weight of public opinion. So, go on to your MSPs, go on to your MPs, tell them you want this thing moved along. Start talking to your friends and your neighbours. Talk about the madness that's been created by the nut jobs and the inbreds and the British elite in Westminster. And let's talk about getting to fake. Because a lot of us are going to die. A lot of us are going to lose our homes. A lot of us are going to lose our jobs. As was pointed out by Andrew Bowie, the head of the Bank of England, last week, right after Bojo gave his bombastic Prime Minister's question times when he said living wages went up, record employment. Right after that, Andrew Bowie, the governor of the Bank of England, gives a speech to say that rising unemployment is going to be the name of the game here. Companies are going to go bust because there's no cap on electricity prices to shops, factories, council buildings, nothing. It's only a household cap. So all of these businesses won't be able to afford their energy bills, so they get out the door. They're finished. They won't be able to, there'll be no market for them to sell to either. Because, as Andrew Bowie pointed out, with the squeeze on the cost of living, that means there's a squeeze on people's finances, which means people are not buying. Wee Mrs McGlumfer is not going to buy that new carpet. Wee Mrs McGlumfer is not going to buy that new telly. Mr McGlumfer isn't buying that new car. The home improvements that Mr McGlumfer would like today, they're not getting done. When you squeeze what's in people's pockets, then they can't spend into the economy, so the economy contracts. And that was the point being made by Andrew Bowie, the Bank of England governor, while Bojo was stoned being bombastic at Prime Minister's question times, boasting about the fastest growing economy in the G7, which was of course a lot of bollocks. But with a compliant media, nobody's telling the British public the truth. So Davy's going to tell them. The economy's on its arse. And it's going to keep shrinking as the cost of living squeeze hits. Because wee Mrs McGlumfer isn't buying that new carpet. So the carpet shop shuts and there goes its 10 employees. Mr McGlumfer's not buying a new car every 3 years. So that'll shut down the car plants. And the associated industries that supply the car plants. There's going to be a chain reaction here. And Andrew Bowie, the Bank of England, was pointing that out while Boris Johnson was standing in the Commons, lying through his teeth to an entire union. 4 nations, one big fucking lie. So, that's why Davy's on the day. Brexit has arrived. All the things that Davy's been predicting for since 2016 is here. And it's going to get worse, no better. Simple as that. They've been able to hide the queues by diverting them into lorry parks, but they were still stuck in lorry parks. Lorry parks are full, 20 kilometre long queues at the Port of Dover. And at the other side. But the UK press is not telling you people that. The European press, that's telling the people in Europe that. That's why very shortly supplies coming into the UK will dry up. And things like food supplies and food costs in Europe are going to come down. Because the stuff that was normally shipped to the UK will go to other European countries, and that will bring down the cost of living in these other European countries. Because the surplus will get used up. The stuff that used to come to the UK. And by the way, the other thing is, up here in Scotland, anything that does make it through the Port of Dover or at Hull, it's going to service the people in the south east of England and across the Midlands. No making it here. Made that clear a couple of years ago. And the same thing will happen with the vital medicines as they come in. Central procurement is done by Public Health England. So there'll not be much gets past the Watford Gap. There is 18.5 million people south of that Watford Gap. Any fresh food that gets in, that'll go to the London markets in the south east. Any medicine coming in, that'll go to Public Health England before anybody else. All the predictions are coming through now, folks. You'll have all seen the pictures now. The queues at the Port of Dover are that big, and the Port of Calais are that big. You can actually see them on Google Maps for their satellites. Buckle up, kids. This is just the start here. Cheery news for a Saturday. But this is just the start here. And sector by sector, getting goods in is going to get harder, as each sector gets full checks imposed on it. There are important dates, especially when it comes to food products. 1st of July, 1st of September, 22nd November. These are when full checks comes into animal products and things like that, and nobody's going to send them here. Which is going to be bloody murder, because we're sending stuff out to get butchered and then bringing it back for the domestic market. Because the lack of European workers means there's nobody in the abattoirs, there's nobody in the bloody processing plants. So we're actually sending meat into Europe to be butchered, to be sent back for the domestic market. That's going to be faking hellish come November 22nd. This is only just started, kids. Buckle up. Sorry to be so gloomy, but I thought I better come on and get a told you so at the bloody road, because people have been laughing at me for the last 4 years when I've been saying this is going to happen. But they kept kicking the can down the road. No more can kicking, kids. It's arrived. Time to put pressure on our MPs and our MSPs to get move on and get the feck out of this mess. At least we do have an emergency exit. Eyes on the prize, partisan politics in your pockets. Get out there and campaign for hearts and minds and start pressurising your MPs and your MSPs, okay? Enjoy the rest of your weekend. I'm going for a nice meal this evening. Enjoy your evening. Bye now.